Welcome to a series of educational videos on behavioral economics. I'm Monica, and I'm so excited to begin exploring various topics in behavioral economics with you, like mean reversion, hyperbolic discounting, and framing. Now, before we dive into insights and research from BE, let's figure out what behavioral economics is and why it matters. Here are a few definitions from some different sources.
What do I think behavioral economics is?
So I think behavioral economics is when people decide how they want to spend their money.
I think behavioral economics is studying how people react to different financial situations.
I think behavioral economics is the intersection between economics and psychology, where you kind of analyze how people are thinking about economics.
Google says behavioral economics is a method of economic analysis that applies psychological insights into human behavior to explain economic decision-making. Investopedia says that behavioral economics explores why people sometimes make irrational decisions and why and how their behavior does not always follow the predictions of economic models. An important researcher in behavioral economics, Dan Ariely, says, "I think of it as basically applied social science. Economics starts with making some very, very strong assumptions about how people behave. That people are perfectly rational, that they always know what they want to do, that they make the right decisions, that they can compute everything, and so on. Behavioral economics, in contrast, doesn't start with any assumptions. You're just saying, let's look empirically at how people behave." All of these definitions link some aspects of psychology into the study of economics. Basically, behavioral economics seeks to create models that incorporate what we know about how humans process information into the neoclassical economic models that we use today. For behavioral economists, the challenge lies in incorporating psychology without losing the mathematically solvable nature of economic models. Psychology is great because it offers accurate predictions of human behavior in certain situations, but neoclassical economics is so useful because it offers clean and clear mathematical solutions to a variety of problems. How can we balance the tensions of having accuracy in specific domains while still keeping a general model? Critics of behavioral economics come from both sides of the combined field, both psychology and economics. Many traditional neoclassical economists say that BE is
Overhyped, inconsequential, and hopelessly patched together.
An important economist at the University of Washington at St. Louis says, "There's a tendency to propose some new theory to explain each new fact. The world doesn't need 1,000 different theories to explain 1,000 different facts. At some point, there needs to be a discipline of trying to explain many facts with one theory. This point is alluding to the new field's tendency to find an interesting anomaly in the market and then create a new theory to explain it." However, some important figures in behavioral economics, like Kahneman and Thaler, believe that some models created for specific domains have already proven worthy, like hyperbolic discounting. There are plenty of differing opinions about the utility of behavioral economics, how rigorous the field is, how far the field should go, and what counts as behavioral economics. Yet despite all of the ambiguity surrounding the field of behavioral economics, we're still going to study it. Why? Well, not only is behavioral economics just kind of fun, it can have some important policy implications. If policy is influenced by the study of economics, but humans don't always act the way that the study of economics predicts that they'll react, then we'll end up with some very different outcomes from the policy than what we expected. However, if behavioral economics can better inform policy about how humans will actually react, then hopefully we can end up with more effective and efficient laws. Furthermore, even if some economic policies will be more efficient, like directly taxing or subsidizing a good, behavioral economics policy suggestions can be less unpopular when being deliberated by Congress because they seem less overt. So now that we have a bit of background about what behavioral economics is and what the conversation around it looks like, it's time to look at where we'll go from here. In the following videos, we'll look at various topics in behavioral economics that can be divided into 3 main categories. They are limited cognitive ability, limited willpower, and limited self-interest. Under limited cognitive ability, we'll look at how humans conceptualize questions based on the way they're framed. Would you respond differently if someone told you had a 25% chance of living versus a 75% chance of dying? Limited willpower will include a portion on something called hyperbolic discounting. Why is it that you keep putting off that diet by one more day every day? Finally, a discussion about limited self-interest might include some information about fairness and gratitude. Can the emotion of gratitude make us more patient when deciding to receive economic gains now or in the future? Similarly, why do we leave tips in restaurants that we know we will never go to again? To conclude, it's important to think of behavioral economics as a study to be paired with understandings garnered by more traditional economics. not to replace the subject, but to supplement it with a more true approximation of human behavior. With the insights that we're about to explore, there exists a real possibility for useful policy change and a more nuanced understanding of our own minds.